Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, listen, man, I want to throw this question out there, and I want to talk about this a little bit because it's interesting, man. I was sitting here, right, getting my day started, so I'm on the Instagram. You know, and I try to get back to everybody's messages on Instagram. I don't always get back to everybody, but I try to, just to have interaction with people. And I was talking to this one guy, some guy I don't even know, some dude who just messaged me. I'm gonna assume he's Mexican because that's what he kept talking about when I was going back and forth with him. But some guy messaged me and don't know who he is, never heard of him in my life, and he's just going on talking about. He was saying, fuck America, fuck the USA, American fighters suck, this, that, and the third. You hate Mexican fighters, this, that, and the third, right? So I was going back and forth with him. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I make this video because I feel like this is a question that should be asked more of people who cover boxing. And it should be a question that's asked to a lot of these, some of these boxing fans. You know, why do people hate? Why is there seemingly a growing hatred for the American fighter? Why is, you know, it wrong if you're an American to support the American fighter? You know, now look, I love my favorite fighter is not even from America. My favorite fighter is from Nicaragua. One of my other favorite fighters is from Scotland and the Ukraine. But I am a fan of a lot of American fighters, and I'm a patriotic person. I love my country, right? Why is it an issue when a boxing fan decides that he wants to support the American fighter and he's vocal about it, but like when there's 10 to 15,000 Mexicans that congregate around the MGM Grand and say Viva Mexico and come with the sombreros and Mexican flags, nobody says a thing. There's no issues with people that support Mexican fighters. There's no problem with Mexicans that support Mexican fighters. There's no problem with Puerto Ricans who support Puerto Rican fighters, but there's always a problem with Americans that support the American fighters. Somebody please answer this question for me because I'm having a hard time understanding this. Now, let me say that when I say American fighters, I'm not just talking about black fighters, because people may say, oh, well, you just support black fighters, BT. No. When I say the American fighters, I'm talking about Joe Smith Jr. I'm talking about Caleb Plant. You know, I'm talking about Mexican American fighters like Angelo Leo and Dave Benavidez. I'm not just talking about Crawford, Boo Boo Andrade, and Jerron Ennis, okay? So when I say the American fighters, I mean all American fighters, not just one type of American fighter. Why is that an issue? Why is there this growing I've noticed this in boxing. Why is there a growing hostility towards fighters from the USA? Because I don't know. I don't know if you guys see it, but I see it. And it's not just towards, like I said, it's not just towards the black American fighters. It's even towards like for example, Caleb Plant, right? Caleb Plant got so much, in my opinion, he got so much unwarranted hatred from the Canelo fans, all because he believed he could beat Canelo, you know? And on Instagram, right? Like, you know, anybody who likes me or dislikes me, you can hit me up on Instagram. I will respond to you. I'm very easy to find. I've gotten messages plenty of times, not just from this clown, but other people, Canelo fans who are offended by my videos. And look, I always say, I've said it many times, if what I say offends you and you don't like it, don't fucking come here. If your skin isn't thick enough to handle the truth, take your tail, tuck your tail between your legs, stop being a bitch, and go to a channel that has narratives that suit what you want to hear. Don't come here. If you know I don't like Canelo and you know I'm probably going to say something bad about him or something that you don't agree with, then don't come here. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Don't come to True School Sports. Go to one of these other channels. You know, I don't got to say the names. You know who they are. That pander to Canelo Alvarez fans, even though they don't even like Canelo Alvarez themselves. There's a growing hostility towards the American fighter. And not just the black American fighter, but the white American fighter. Even the Mexican, the Chicanos get looked at downly by the Mexican fans because they're not Mexican enough, you know? I've seen it from some Mexican fans at the Canelo fight. So I'm just saying, like, listen, man, like, it's got to stop. Like, it's got to stop, man. Like, people got to stop hating on other fighters because of the flag that represents them. Like, straight up. It's such a fucking trivial thing. Like, if I cut my damn arm open, we're gonna bleed the same red. We're gonna bleed the same fucking red. We're human beings, man. Like, it's gotta stop. I love boxing. I don't know about you guys. I love boxing. So that means I love all the styles. I love fighters from many countries, including this country, Mexico. Shit, I'm going to Mexico next month. So if you want to catch me out there, I'll be out there. But freaking, I'm just getting sick of it, man. I'm getting sick of it, man, of how American fighters are being treated in this country. I'm getting sick of how American fighters are being overlooked. I'm getting sick of how American fighters, there's this growing hostility towards American fighters. And truthfully speaking, there should never be any hostility towards the American fighters, because without the USA, there would be no fucking boxing. To be honest, there would be no boxing. You can't even talk about the history of boxing without talking about fighters from the USA, whether that be, you know, Black American fighters, white American fighters, Mexican American fighters, Italian American fighters, any sort of American fighter. You know, you cannot talk about the history of boxing without talking about the American fighters. And that statement applies the most to the USA more than any country. But it seems like, even in its own country, that people, for whatever the case may be, there's a growing hostility towards the American fighters in the damn country. So it's ridiculous, man. But look, you can hate America, you can love the USA, you can hate the USA. It's not going to change the fact that the USA and America runs boxing. America runs boxing. The USA runs boxing. You can love that fact. You can hate that fact. But come hell or high water, it's a fact. I want you to think about it, right? If you look at the USA as a whole right now, boxing-wise, we're like in a weak period. We don't have a heavyweight champion anymore. We don't have any champions at 168 anymore. We don't have any champions at light heavyweight. We don't have any champions at cruiserweight. But apart from those weight classes, from 122 all the way up to 160, America is dominating boxing. You got champions, top contenders, just littered all over those weight classes. So like what, 122, 126, 130, 135, 140, 147, 154, 160. That's like 8 weight classes. And I think boxing has what, 17 weight classes? But you got 105, 108, 112, 115, 118, 122, 126, 130, 135, 140, 147, 154, 160, 168, 175, cruiserweight. I guess now if you want to include Bridgerweight, and then heavyweight. So that's 18 weight classes. So the USA has champions, top champions, and or the best fighter in the weight classes from 122 to 160. That's 8 weight classes. That's about half of boxing, and this is considered a down period in USA boxing history. So keep that in mind. To you, not to the sensible Canelo fans, not to the sensible people that just like boxing and talk about boxing for what it is, a sport. I'm talking to the people out there that think this is a thing about nationality and cultural and racial superiority. If you want to get into that type of talk with me, okay. You want to say Mexico runs boxing? Okay, cool. Mexico's doing the thing. I can't handle Mexico. Mexican fighters got champions in, 112 and 115. They're always a factor in those lower weight classes, but now they're even a factor in the higher weight classes, because you got Andy Ruiz at heavyweight, Canelo at middleweight, who's undisputed now. So you can't take away anything the country of Mexico is doing in boxing, because they're a factor. They're one of the top 3 best countries in boxing, in my opinion. I would put them behind Japan, or maybe just they're neck and neck with Japan, in my opinion. But let's be real. Let's just be real. Even the Mexican, look at Canelo, right? Canelo Alvarez is considered to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, right? But where does he live? Where does he live and where does he train for his camps? Does he train in Mexico for his camps? No. Does he get his sparring from mostly Mexican fighters for his camps? No. Where did Canelo have to move to become the Canelo Alvarez of today? He had to move to the USA. He had to go to San Diego. He had to spar Rashidi Ellis. He had to spar Ronald Ellis. He had to spar these guys to get him ready for his fight. So even the guys that you want to prop up as saying that they're the best fighters in the world and they're not from America, well, guess what? Americans play a role in the USA, some way, shape, or form, plays a role in their success, whether it be from the sparring they're getting to the trainers. I know a lot of people, this same clown said, Tyson Fury beats or the Europeans are beating up all the American heavyweight champions because he beat Wilder, right? But think about it. Fury, when he fought Wilder the first time, he didn't have an American trainer. He had a British trainer. He had Ben Davison in his corner, and he almost got knocked the hell out and had to dig deep to survive, okay? It wasn't until he hired Sugar Hill Stewart that he really started dominating Wilder. And what is Sugar Hill Stewart? An American from Detroit, Michigan. So all I'm saying is this. You can choose to ignore it. You can choose to hate the USA, but it doesn't change the fact that the best trainers in the history of the sport are from the USA. The best sparring any fighter can get from anywhere in the world in any weight class is in the USA. The best fighters from 122 to 160 at this moment in time are from the USA. So, marinate on that, Yeah, stop hating countries, man. Like, I don't hate Mexico. Like, I think Mexico has a beautiful culture and they got beautiful people, and I've been blessed to meet so many people from the country of Mexico that are my friends. So I don't like when people make boxing about race. This isn't the 1920s anymore. Like, these fighters are not going through what Joe Louis went through in the 1920s and 30s. They're not going through what fighters of yesteryear went through. It's a different world. It's a different time. Stop being so damn tribal and just enjoy the sport for what it is, a fucking sport.